Good morning, Reseller Mom here with Tina for our weekly chat on Fridays where we answer questions, show kind of the news, see how you're doing. Good morning, Tina. Tina and I are both struggling with things. Did you want to share your problem or not? I don't care. I was going to share mine.
Sure. I decided to move my computer before our live, and I dropped the screen, so I punctured it. So while I'm here, even looking at all of you, I'm seeing weird lines and things going across my screen. So now I need to get it repaired or buy a new one. So it was a rough start getting onto our live this morning.
Yes. And I'm having a rough Amazon morning. They deactivated one of my Barbie things saying that it was trademarked. Like, no, it wasn't even my account health dashboard. It was just in my stranded inventory. And so I just went and edited. I took out all the Barbie names. I'm going to see if that, because it was a bot did that, and it's knocking out Barbie right now. And they said that I can appeal, but I need to have a letter of authorization for the licensing or a license agreement. And I'm just irritated with that. Luckily, it's only 37 items, so I can easily recall that and relist it, but just irritating. And then I'm doing some work for a gentleman, and he's having trouble with the NARF program. And I spent 30 minutes on the phone with seller support yesterday, and they said, well, it's because you don't have Mexico, and you got to have all the Americas in the NARF program. I said, okay, so we sunk up Mexico, and I took a screenshot because I do that for things. And I set it to FBA inventory and 10% increase above source marketplace. And it didn't save either of those settings. All his merchant fulfilled stuff is for sale, and there's no 10% increase. And Canada is still not syncing. So just Amazon makes you want to sometimes strangle people or drink. I'm kind of tied in between those two. We've got a lot to discuss, though, today. And like always, if anybody has any comments, questions, chime in with, if you hear about, we share our problems because we all have these types of problems, right? We've all broken what am I drinking? Everything today. We all have problems. We've all broken equipment. We've all had listing errors. And, we like to talk about those things because solving them can be problematic, and sometimes seeing what other people are doing is helpful, at least for me. Anyhow, we're going to get going on these, and we've got a few. Drink is my go-to. Yeah, I need like a punching bag and drink. So maybe I'll get one of those hats that I can drink and punch at the same time.
I can't drink today. I got too much paperwork to focus on. Drinking and paperwork doesn't go hand in hand, but maybe later. I hate when my morning gets off to a rough start, like breaking things that are expensive. That is no fun.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. Yesterday it was my battle with we had a leak, and our shower is on the upper floor, and it was leaking down into the laundry room. And so I got the plumbing fixed, and then I had taken out a cabinet. That was my last night. And so it's just frustrating. You work all day, you come home, you work on house projects, whether it's broken piping or screens or whatever. And it's life. It's life, and it sucks. Adulting sucks some days.
I know Lucy and I have joked around in the past about doing a Amazon live shows on Wednesday while we drank wine and calling it like Wednesday Wine Down.
I'm still down for that.
All the negative, like frustrating things with Amazon. I mean, there certainly is a lot of good. Mm-hmm.
Like on Wednesday or tonight. I'm good. Ready to go. Ready to go. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's start in. This is like no particular order because we've got a lot of things, and I didn't pan it out right in the order, but we'll start here. Nate says, sounds good. Yes. All right. This article, and I did not put the article things in the thing. Let's see if that will go. You'll have to chop up and copy paste the URL it chopped out and put it in 2 lines. But if you really wanted to read it, there is a new crackdown on illegal fake fake reviews will now be illegal. I think before they were just annoying, but the FTC is now going to crack down and try to do a $50,000 fine. And what they're mainly going after, I thought this was interesting in the article, is not just the fake reviews, but the companies that hire people to do the fake reviews. So there's a lot of companies out there that will say, come work for us. You can do these reviews. We pay you, whatever, a couple dollars for the reviews. And they have people either writing the reviews or running ChatGPT to write the reviews. And then marketing to people that want their products. We'll get you reviews for your products. Just pay us $100 and we'll get you 100 reviews, something like that. So as a seller, don't buy that. Don't buy that. Don't support that. And if you are running a fake review company, which I doubt anybody listening to this is, you'll want to not do that. And then if this goes through and it works, then maybe it will be better for the whole community. I certainly hate it when I go to either as a consumer buy a product and there's a bunch of fake reviews, or as a seller finding fake reviews. So they were saying something like, I want to say it was a high amount percentage. I'll find it here. As many as 30 to 40% of online reviews are fabricated or otherwise not genuine. 30.
That's a big number.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a really big number. And the thing is that it will actually be best for all of us if they truly do crack down on it, especially on Amazon, because there are so many sellers that end up ranking higher and squashing down our genuinely good listings because they are doing these manipulations. And it just weeds out the bad players on Amazon and keeps business good for those of us who are genuinely doing this as a way to make a living, and we're doing things the right way. So I really hope they do get rid of these reviews on Amazon that are the fake bogus ones. Where people have 1,000, because in this article it talks about people having like 1,000 fake reviews on a product. So think like when you're searching, supplements, maybe you're searching a supplement, for weight loss, and there's all these great reviews, and I've lost so much weight, and people are like buying it up because of these reviews, when really this weight loss supplement is absolute garbage. And maybe there is something out there that's a weight loss supplement that does help and that has some legitimate reviews. And normally the way reviews are is for every 100 sales, you get one review. So people are having to sell a lot to earn those reviews. It's hard getting the reviews on Amazon. So when you see a newer product that has just been released on Amazon and they have hundreds of reviews, you can bet that these are fake reviews.
Absolutely. I liked how they said the FTC would be able to get this money, hopefully, and then get it to consumers that are harmed by fake reviews. I obviously don't know how that will work, but that's really good. And then, they understand that they can't really go after the platforms like Facebook or Amazon because it's really hard for any of those. You cross over, and we've had many court cases about that. Is Amazon in charge of policing itself, and where does the FTC step in? And, Amazon obviously doesn't condone fake reviews, but they don't have the legal clout to go after people. They can only ban them from the site. There was something else earlier this month, Google sued an individual company who posted 350 fraudulent business reviews. That's a lot. But there was one bit in here, I don't know if I'll find it. And what it said is it's going to include, if you have, let's say I'm selling this coffee mug and then all of a sudden I switch it out for a different product and the product is different, that it's lying to the consumer. The consumer is going off the reviews for this cup, and now you've switcherooed it. And if it's a completely different product, and it was a vitamin case that had done this, they swapped out, they just used that post, that listing with the good reviews to sell the new product, that will be one of the targets as well. So
in fact, I had ran across a listing like that the other day before I had found this article. that we're talking about right now. And I wish I could remember what that listing was. It was something that I was looking at to actually purchase for myself. And so I wanted to read the reviews, and the reviews below were for a completely different product. And it was exactly the scenario you're talking about. And how I knew it was for a completely different product is they weren't even clever enough to say, put like your example of the coffee mug there, by hijacking another coffee mug listing. It was like I was looking for, I can't remember if I was looking for a clip on camera or like the clip on microphones so I can film better while out in public. But the reviews below were for something like a drink mix. I mean, it was a completely whole different category, whole different everything. And I was like, wow. And so I didn't obviously put that item in my cart because I realized they had hijacked another listing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's it's tough. Nate, I am getting you a link, so just a moment. And then companies take it serious. I found this one interesting. Amazon says it blocked more than 200 million suspected fake reviews in 2022. Yelp has identified 19% as not recommended. So, I mean, the companies are trying, but it's just really, really out of control. It
Yeah,
is.
and not only people putting the fake positive reviews on their account, but likely they're also doing the fake negative reviews on their competitors' listings. And
Yeah.
that's where there's even a bigger problem. I've now, put all my hard work into my private label item. I've got my listing on Amazon. It's doing good. And now my competitor wants to sabotage my listing. And they're paying for people to put negative reviews and negative comments on my listing, therefore sabotaging my listing. So I'm not getting sales. And now all my hard earned money and dollars that are tied up in this product are now gone. And this is a big problem. This happens to a lot of private label sellers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of people come to me on Fiverr with the private label, the I want to drop ship or, get stuff from Alibaba, go send it into Amazon. And on paper, that looks like a great business model. I mean, it's you go and you find something fun that their market, there's a demand, you make sure the margins are good, you work with your supplier, you get it sent over. The back alley part of this whole thing is the hijacking, the fake reviews. People will go and look for something on Amazon that is doing well, and we'll say there's 5 people doing private label from Alibaba with that item, and the market's kind of bouncing around. They all have their private labels going. They may or may not be brand registered, and there's 5 different listings. So what that person will then do, and I don't know who's preaching this business model because it's completely unethical and not what we stand for. They will say, okay, you go and you source that item, you get your listing going, then you pay to get your reviews done for your listing, and also pay to get negative reviews and destroy the other people's listings. And it happens. That is unfortunately what has been happening very much so in the Amazon world, and it sucks. All right, Nate, I gave you a barcode scanner. That is not the one that I have, but I think it's the same brand. You can see there's 2Ds and 1Ds, and I don't know. I'm a 1D person. We will be talking about the new inventory lab workflow, but I'm going to move on to the next topic we got here. This one was both interesting and creepy. Amazon
Yes.
is going to start using your palm to check out. So, what
And
do you
this is at Whole Food stores. So, of course, Amazon owns Whole Food stores. And I'm guessing how, like, we use our thumbprint to unlock our phones, and with Apple products anyway. And you can unlock your computer, your Apple computer with your thumbprint. I'm guessing you're going to have to register your palm print at Whole Foods in order for this to work. I find it personally creepy. Yeah, it's one thing for my own personal device to do my thumbprint. I guess in that same token, Apple probably saves this data about us and has our thumbprints on file. So, but yeah, I think it's creepy.
I don't know. I struggle because on one hand, it's like you can't it's harder to steal identities, right? Because it's your palm print, it's your fingerprint, whatever. And on the other hand, with all the hands on whichever hand, um, it is another set of data that companies have on you. I have come to the conclusion, though, that companies have an enormous amount of data on you, whether you like it or not. When I go to the doctor, they scan in. All my information is in the computer. And we have had, over the years, we have had to be put on security alert for fraud because of different things being broken into. And some of those have been our medical information, Home Depot, Target, big box stores. So cybersecurity is one of the top growing fields and careers right now. They're saying that for every 10 spots needed, there's only one person graduating in cybersecurity. Hint, hint, if any of your children are looking for a direction, push them in cybersecurity. It's going to be a very well paying, high demand job right now. And it's just going that way. It's just going that way. And that's with the amount of fraud going on. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. We are a family, though. We put air tags in just about everything. Like my phone, you could track my phone. I have an air tag in my purse. I have an air tag in my car. We have, if my dogs ran away, I'd put an air tag on them, but they run home, so I don't have to really worry about anybody stealing my dogs or anything like that. But our friend puts an air tag on his dog. So, we're fine with being tracked because I find that the positive outweighs the negative. I don't misabuse. My children are teenagers and we don't abuse it. I've seen some parents who misuse that type of thing, or even spouses where they start tracking and being a little bit not good with those type of tracking things. So I don't know. With every what is it? With great power comes great responsibility.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's coming. It's coming. Amazon's going to be the first. Next thing you know, it's going to be in all the grocery stores, just like self-checkout. I was really hoping self-checkout was going to be a trend and it'd go away. And it's
Yeah, for those of you who shop at Whole Foods, are you comment and let me know how you feel about scanning, checking out with the palm of your hand.
yeah. Okay, so here's where I go with it. Just like ancestry.com, there was a big thing between ancestry.com and your genetic code and them using it to find serial killers and such. And I kind of feel like if serial killers are stupid enough to give ancestry.com their DNA and we can match that with a case that happened 10, 20 years ago, and then we catch the person, I'm kind of for that. Same with these palms. If these palm readers help catch fugitives and things like that, I kind of am okay with that because I'm all for getting crime off the street. But at the
And the
same
thing
time,
with ants, oh, sorry, I
go
thought you
ahead.
were done.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the thing with ancestry is that um, if, let's say, you are my second cousin, but you haven't done the ancestry DNA, but I have, they can still through the DNA figure that we're related. So the when they're catching the serial killers or people interested in crime, sometimes they didn't even do their DNA, but a relative did it.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, if I found out a close family member was a serial killer, as much as I'm all pro family, I cut the line on certain things, yeah. I don't
I'm a
know.
serial killer. I can kill a bowl of cereal real easy. Fruit Loops, cinnamon toast crunch.
That was a pretty bad joke, Tina, but I love it. I love it. We often send the bad dad jokes in our family thread. It's so good, so bad. Yeah, it's I was just really hoping for flying cars by this day and age. That's what I really wanted. I wanted flying cars.
I wanted life to be like the Jetsons.
Yes, like the Jetsons. All right. As many of you have heard, and I think this is probably the most important, impactful part of our show here, the UPS is in the middle of a heated negotiations with Teamsters regarding their contract. On August 1st, Teamsters are prepared to strike if UPS has not met their demands. UPS has been in contact with us almost daily with updates. This is a supplier of mine that came out this morning. They are holding fast to the opinion that this will be settled by August 1st. Of course, UPS management is like, we're going to settle our beef by the 1st. You have nothing to worry about. Nobody's going to say, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. In preparation for what might happen, they want me to order everything that I possibly can. On a personal note, we did go through and order all of Victor's medical supplies he's going to need because his knee surgery is on August 11th. And I said, there's certain medical things that we want to get ordered, and I don't want to have them delayed because if he goes, we'll just leave it at that. He's got to go potty, he's got to shower, and he's got to have ice for his knee and elevation. I would love to levitate him some days.
But it is almost Halloween. I mean,
yeah. I'm like, so let's get on. Our daughter's birthday is the week after. So we were trying to get everything kind of ordered in preparation for that. For business, I'm not really doing much. I'm just trying to get everything into the fulfillment centers and out of here because if I can't ship FBA boxes, I just don't plan on shipping on August 1st. Are you doing anything, Tina?
For shipping on August 1st? Oh, as far as like getting orders out now because of that, I'm still doing my shipments as usual. I'm still ordering as usual. I'm just hoping that they will work it out. I can't say that I'm going extra harder and getting more stuff in than I normally would. I placed a couple of Halloween orders for wholesale. This is the time of year I start shopping for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. The trade show is coming up in August. I'm going to be ordering things then. They're not going to get to me until the 1st of September. Some of these things my suppliers don't have yet. So some of it is not forcible.
Yeah.
And when I go out to stores, I can only get as much as I can get. So no, I'm not panicking about trying to hurry up and get as much as I can, because on the flip side, let's say that I did. Let's say that I went really crazy and got all these pallets and all this stuff and got it out in time. Well, how's Amazon going to ship it? If the strike is if this
because they've been preparing for this for years.
Yeah, well, I feel like if it's affecting us on this side, it's going to affect Amazon on the getting it out.
Oh, without a doubt. But if anybody has watched, what do they say? Watch what people do, not what they say. And if we watch what Amazon has done, they have gotten their own trucks, their own drivers. They have outsourced to small third-party businesses their last mile logistics. They have built their relationship with the post office, and they have just really streamlined having multiple ways to ship things so that they are not tied and not held down by these types of disagreements with, they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket, as most of us don't. So the big beef with UPS, there's two major talking points. There is air conditioning in the trucks and a dual wage system that they want to get rid of. Now, I don't know what their dual wage system is all about. It sounds like a crummy thing to have, so I'd probably side with that. Air conditioning's in the truck, totally agree. Their trucks in certain areas, we can't put these people in a tin hot box and expect them to be okay with that. They've got to make some sort of compromise with that. And I know it's going to cost UPS more money, but it needs to be done. So I get that. I get why they're striking, and I am a very pro-union person. So I hope they get it settled, but I understand if they don't. Now, they have gone to President Biden, and UPS has gone to President Biden and said, make it so that we don't strike. And then the union leader has gone and said, stay out of it. So as a business owner, this is going to affect us, whether we like it or not. And they're saying that the loss of business because of this strike to all of the small businesses is going to really, really hurt hurt our economy, hurt our people. And half of me goes, that's all right. I can take a few cuts. And the other half is going, geez, if we put X amount of businesses out of business, I feel bad for those small business owners. So I don't know, kind of on the fence.
Yeah, I'm just really hoping that it will work itself out. When you watch movies of the hero coming in at the very last second and saves the day, I'm hoping that this works itself out in the same way, that our economy, everything depends on our postal service, right? I guess the only good news is maybe our bills will come late. But
They'll still
yeah.
want it on time. They don't.
So yes, we you and I, and Chris says here, my mouse doesn't work. I'll try to.
I'll add it. I'll add it.
Thank you. Yes. Well, my mouse works, but it's since I broke my computer screen.
All right, so we got
a
a few comments here. Chris, can you read it, or is it messed up in your screen?
No, go ahead.
FedEx trucks here are all electric. UPS needs to step it up. Exactly. UPS needs to step it up, period. They have cut corners. They've tried to save money, and they need to be good. Nate says prime time will change if this happens. Yep. April says I was going to ship my first shipment to UPS from Canada. Now you should wait. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I might wait a little bit. Eventually this will get solved one way or another, right? We're not going to like shut down the world and revert to the Stone Age, but maybe. Nate says just have Bezos pony up for the AC. And Bezos says give them air.
Mhm.
Something we have climate problems, right? Whether you want to believe in global warming or not, the facts are the facts. It's getting hotter. There's been record heats in all of the southern states. There's been all the records are being broken. And it was 116 there last week. Did you guys hit 116? I know Death Valley hit a new high.
Yes, it's been every day is well over 100. I think yesterday was 111 when I was out running around. But yes, it's very hot here. And, I'm in support of our drivers having the most comfortable conditions that they can have. We all want the most comfortable conditions in our work environment, no matter what it is that we do. So, I'm in support of them having these better conditions. Things do need to change.
And it may not look like, I'm not saying that they absolutely have to have air conditioning in all of the truck, etc. But there's a lot of other options. A lot of times these companies get stuck on a black or white, and it's like, okay, in Vegas, the construction crews do construction at night because of the heat. They can't do it in full sun. It's not humanly, they'd just be having people drop dead. So maybe they can have air conditioning in the seats or direct air or some sort of other thing. There's a lot of options on the table here, and UPS has got to go, what is the best for our drivers and the most economical out of those decisions, and work with
And
the
maybe
union.
in other states they don't need the AC, but in the winter they sure do need the heaters. We're out
Yeah.
here, that's not necessary. But I do hope they come to some resolve. Just like I also hope that Hollywood figures their stuff out with their writers' strike. We're having nothing to watch on TV.
Yeah, that's an interesting one there. I am in support of that. I have to say though, again, I'm on the fence because some of the writers, one of my beefs with TV and why I don't do basic cable is because the writing went downhill. It sucked. And I really don't want to pay for sucky writing. And some of the shows that have been awesome coming out have been from other platforms. And I like that capitalism has kind of stirred that up. So when I watch something that is like Ted Lasso was written beautifully, I mean, just really, really well, they put a lot of time and thought into it. And I'm going, okay, I'll pay up for good writing, just like books and or TV and or movies. But we went and watched the last Ant-Man, and I'm going, they should have saved half of the special effects budget and paid the dang writers, because your writing was garbage. Whoever those writers were, they should be canned and go into a different field of work. They were not good writing. So, I don't know.
I
They
just
got to
know I
work that
don't want
out.
to watch AI actors and AI writing. I
Yeah.
want real people.
Well, and we want talent, and that's the thing. Writing and movies and writing and artwork are all part of those things that require a creative person, and that creative person works hard to develop those creative skills, and I appreciate that. But if you're going to do like I hate the ones, the videos that come on the TikTok where somebody's just taking a board and they're spinning it and they're dropping paint. That's not artwork, honey. I can do that. You don't train for that. It's not artwork. It is a cool craft, but it is a cool craft. It's not artwork. Don't expect people to pay thousands of dollars for your splatter on the wall that you think is amazing. No, I'm paying for art. Same with the movie and entertainment industry. If people put in time and effort on their craft, they should be paid appropriately. If you're going to sit there and crank out garbage, I can crank out garbage. I don't need you to sell me garbage. It's fine. So, I don't know. We'll see how that happens. They're still going. They've been going for what, 3 months now?
Yeah.
Netflix is the one winning. Netflix has all sorts of backed up entertainment material, and they're just cranking it out. It's been nice. I started watching that new one about bones in the caves down in Africa. Holy moly, that is interesting from an anthropological, whatever, anthropology standpoint. All right, we are going to move on. I pulled a couple of pictures to talk about, and then I wanted to talk. I pulled an article that was like the top mistakes Amazon people make. So I thought that would be interesting to go through. This is all from that lawyer website on Facebook. So if you don't follow that, it is neat to read these threads and see what people are saying. I like to keep up on, of course, the international stuff and just kind of what's going on in Amazon. This one is about a listing getting hijacked. They changed the title from some sort of tanning gel to a caterpillar killer for insects. And the photos and description are the same, but they are working to get enrolled in brand registry and escalate it. This is a very good example of a hijacker and probably somebody that is out to get them off the market. So a competitor. They're going in, they're changing the listing, they're marking it as pesticides, and then getting that flagged for pesticides and taken down. So they're eliminating their competition. Anyhow, they talk about what you can do, and Ed will take on certain cases. He will shout them out to Twitter, and I find it interesting that Amazon will watch his threads, and he shouts it out in a way that gets their attention. I don't remember what the at so-and-so Amazon people is, but there's been many cases solved by doing it this method, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. And it always bothers me that there are so many cruel people out there in the world that do this. Like, you are ruining somebody's livelihood. What if this is one single seller like me or you, and this is my one product, and I was making a living off of this product, and now overnight you've just now bankrupt me. I mean, it always bothers me how the cruelness in business. And
Well, and the Amazon will not tell you who or how it changed. Sometimes it is from another seller. Sometimes it's from a review. Sometimes it's a report request. Sometimes it's just they updated their systems and they did messed up and they don't admit to their mess up.
right,
So it is
yeah,
very hard to nail down. They will not tell you what and how things got messed up.
right,
So anyhow, Ed will sometimes take on cases and shout it out over on Twitter and get that team, whoever monitors the Twitter, and get things
yeah,
fixed, which again is not going through the proper channels, but it gets it done. So what
yeah.
can we do?
Look, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyone notice the drop in sellers since the Inform Act took place? This was interesting. Some people swear other sellers have dropped out, and some are saying no, it didn't. So Chinese sellers are still around. It did apply, if you read this whole thing, the Inform Act did absolutely apply for anybody in other countries. And I have noticed a few drop-in sellers, but I haven't like
I
statistics.
can't say I've noticed one way or the other. I also, is there a way to check how many sellers are on Amazon? That would be the real, the real proof in the pudding of how many sellers were on there prior, how many are on there now.
Mhm.
That would be interesting. How we can see how many SKUs somebody has in their stores. I'd like to know how many sellers are on Amazon. Is there a website or a page that shows us that? Millennial Money Mom is asking, who is Ed? Ed is his last name is Rosenberg, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Ed Rosenberg is his name, and he is a lawyer. And he's a lawyer that helps us Amazon sellers. He does have a Facebook group. We share him on here almost weekly lately. And it's a weird name. Are you trying to pull up the name of his Facebook group? It's a really long, like ASGOT. It's an acronym for something.
Yeah.
But this is a group that shares the legality things of Amazon for people who have been suspended, or cases like this where Lucy has the screenshot up of this person who's oh no, this is the Inform Act. My computer screen is broken. But the person who talks about their suntan lotion being hijacked. Um, was that his page? Is that his actual
Yeah, this is the page.
website page?
Yeah. So
Yeah, so he
there's he runs a Facebook group, but he also has a website. Yeah, she found it. I'll put this in
oh
the
good.
comments. He actually has gotten in trouble with the law. So if you go Google him, you can look up his law issue. He was, I believe, he pled guilty to bribing Amazon to get
Amazon.
things fixed.
Yeah, he did. But I wasn't even really mad at him for that because
No,
he is fighting for the greater good. And so this bribing was really to help the Amazon seller who really was in the right and who was innocent. And of course, with him always having to communicate with these Amazon reps, he's trying to get their problem fixed. He's trying to fix this for his client. And I was surprised that it happened that way. I was surprised that that happened to him. He's still very respected amongst us Amazon sellers because he really goes out and does all that he can to help us.
okay. I don't like. I don't know him. I've watched him speak at one of the ASDs. I think he's written a book. I might be thinking about a different guy that wrote a book, but he has always tried to help Amazon sellers, and maybe he did do some bribing, and he got sentenced to some probation and house arrest or whatnot. At the end of the day, who hasn't thought about bribing seller support to fix this stupid
Right.
problem?
And was it bribing them or was it gifts for him always going at, for them always helping him out, So, and so was it really gifts that then got taken as bribery because you shouldn't be, and it's probably unethical as a lawyer to be giving gifts, who
I don't
knows?
know. I'd have to go look at it. The end, we all know that Amazon is a pain in the butt to deal with. And they don't respond. They don't give you the right answer. There's lots of glitches. There's
Yes.
lots of AI bots that catch things and flag you for things that shouldn't be flagged, like my Barbie thing this morning. And then the reps don't know or don't have access. So if you told me, Lucy, for $50, I can get you in touch with a rep that will fix this Barbie issue in less than an hour, I would pay that. I'm being honest. I would definitely pay that. Now, is that right? Probably not. Should Amazon fix it? Absolutely. Is it going to get fixed? Probably not in the next 5 years. So,
And the thing is, it's not like another company where you can call and talk to an actual person that works right there in the corporation that you can reason with, that is from the same country as you are. And I know this sounds terrible to say, but it is hard when you are relying on a person that works in a call center overseas. They don't have the authority. They maybe understand what you're telling them, but they don't have the authority to help fix the problem. You can't reason with them on oftentimes a simple problem. And what is very frustrating is the bots find an error in something, and because you can't reason with a human being, your account may be suspended. And Amazon is very frustrating to deal with in matters like this. Very frustrating. Sherry, Sherry brings up a good point that she hasn't paid attention to the number of sellers. And I don't know how we could. If there is a trick to it, I don't know how. But she's noticed an uptick in her sales over the last few days. And you know what? So have I, Sherry. Prime Day, of course, was a big uptick, which made sense. It was Prime Day. But since then, I'm actually higher in sales for this month this year than I was last year. It's a small uptick, but nonetheless, it is an uptick. And for the most part of this year, I've been down a little bit from last year. So is it coincidence or is it the sellers dropping off? I don't know, but I too have noticed that.
I'm going to look it up really quick while we're.
What you're going to look up if there how many sellers were removed
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
inform, if there's even information out there about that. It definitely does pose an interesting scenario if we are all having uptick in sales because of that. I was dealing with talking about not being able to deal with a human being just to get something easily fixed. I've been working with a client through Fiverr, who owns a brand and a product, and I've been helping him create his listings and his A+ content. And he asked me, he says, is Amazon always this way? He says, as a business owner for many years, I just talk to my employees and I tell them, I need this, and they make it happen. He says, or if they have a problem, they come to me, and we're human beings, we can figure it out. He says, but boy, Amazon, he says, for one of the biggest companies in the world, he said, it's impossible to deal with them. I said, yes, and get used to it. I said, unfortunately, that's never going to get easier or change. I would like to tell you that it does get easier, but I said it, you will always have this frustration. You're going to be calling India. You're going to be on the phone for an hour, only for them to let you know that they have opened a case on your behalf. I said, that's just the natural progression of it until you finally get it resolved, whether it be that day, a week, or a month later, or never, right? Or never. Sometimes never is the
There's a
answer.
few that I've given up on this year because I'm just tired of it.
Yes.
And last year, my favorite argument was with somebody, of course, overseas that doesn't understand most of what's going on. And they wanted me to provide a written documentation from the brand owner explaining that hand soap is not for consumption.
Yeah.
And I went, no,
This
that's
should be
stupid.
common sense. Yeah, and
That's
things like
stupid.
that.
I'm
This
not doing
just
that.
should be common sense. And this is the part where it is very frustrating to deal with Amazon. Um, is there a way that they could make it easier? When you are a company that size, I understand that this is a very large company, but is there a way for them to make this easier? Is there a way for them to be more friendly to the sellers? I don't know. I don't work for Amazon. I'm not in the executive position in Amazon to really truly understand the ins and outs. However, I did work for a big corporation here in my city who owns several properties with thousands and thousands of employees at each of these properties. And I felt like in a city like Las Vegas, we give stellar customer service. Our city
Yeah.
is known for the customer service that you get when you are here in our town, and it overflows to our local community. You go into a bank and there's a long line, tellers will kind of shout out, we're working as fast as we can, or we see you, or we'll be with you in a minute. We get great customer service even within our city. That's not to say we don't ever have bad customer service on occasion. It happens. I mean, people are human. But our city is known for that. So maybe Amazon needs to take a lesson out of the playbook of a resort to casino here in Las Vegas for how to deal with customer service to the people that give Amazon the money that they make. I mean, if it weren't for us, sellers, all sellers, brands that put their products on Amazon, Amazon would not exist. And I really feel like Amazon really needs to treat the sellers on their platform a bit better.
I agree, but Amazon's about the money and the fake sales bring in money. So Amazon makes money off of it and they're not inclined to be motivated. However, there are lawsuits. So in this report, which I think I linked, No, I did not link, but I will in a second here, so y'all can read these at your leisure if you want to. It disposed of 6 million counterfeit items last year in 2022. And some of the highlights that I was looking at for you guys here, the first line of defense is its verification. It blocked 800,000 attempts to set up Amazon sell stores by bad actors trying to do counterfeits. This is down from 2.5 million attempts in 2021 and 6 million in 2020. So their things are working. There's been some lawsuits. This one outlines one from Chanel. We've got Louis Vuitton and Valentino. All have been joining the legal battle and are going after fake sellers. There was 1,300 cases over the U.S. With counterfeits going on there. There was another one that said there was raids in China, so they're working with China, and they confiscated or seizure of 240,000 items, which I think is a drop in the bucket. 80%, the estimation is 80% of counterfeits come from China. We all kind of knew that, though. We all kind of knew that one. That's where a lot of them come from.
I will say that when I was working in the casino here, when I would have the foreign visitors that came from China, they would go around to the stores here and they would buy the designer products. And they told you, I've had them tell me about it. They buy the designer products to take home, and you'll see them, here at like the Coach outlet, buying tons and tons of the different bags because they take it back to China and they have the factory. So because they use that as their model to make the counterfeit bag. Then they're even in China in the factories, they have grades like grade A, B, C. So they will make the knockoff bags, but they send the grade A bags, which are their best knockoffs, here to the States. The grade B and C knockoff bags is what the Chinese people can buy there in China. They don't even give their best quality knockoffs to the people in their own country. And this is right out of the Chinese people's mouths to my ear, working in the hotel. And Sherry, and I agree with you, Sherry. She says, I've worked for some big corporations and there was always a way to get a live person for help. Both vendors and customers were able to get help. Yes, and deal with a person who could actually help you. And I really do think Amazon has to improve on that. But Amazon's going to have to spend the money to hire people in the same country where those sellers are, and not just in one country. They have to have Amazon Italy have its call center, and we need to be able to deal with people, but it's cheaper to hire people in the call centers. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
So piggybacking off of that, today with my issue with Canada and Mexico not syncing up and inventory not being live, yesterday I had a tier 1 person, and he was like, at one point he says, oh, I don't know what I can do. I said, listen, you are the customer support. This is what we've tried. What have we not tried? There's got to be something that we have not tried, because you are my last resort after I have tried all these other things and it didn't work. So today my go-to is to call, politely ask for the catalog team, because catalog teams understand the ins and outs of the catalog stuff, and then get to a supervisor on the catalog team, because they have the most buttons and options that they can look at behind the screen. And I'm not privy to exactly what they've just said, that they have more options, they have more reports, they have more things they can look at. I don't get to know exactly what that is, but get to a catalog team supervisor, because tier 1 clearly is not. I'm usually more than a tier 1 problem. When I have to call, it's going to be more than a tier 1 problem. So that is my suggestion. If you are needing a live person, is to get the catalog team and then get a supervisor on the catalog team.
And it's very hard to do those steps too, because a lot of times that rep can't send you to them, won't send you to them.
Well, they can. If they tell you they can't, they're lying.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they will. I've had them, then all of a sudden my call got disconnected.
Yeah.
When I was, and I'm always nice about things, I'm never aggressive to them, please, I really need the catalog team. Yeah. And there are times that I don't want to be friendly because I get so frustrated.
Was it my husband says I am firm and intimidating, so they usually do what I want. And my daughter yesterday said I was yelling at the guy. And I said, no, I had my voice loud because on the other end, it was so much chaos going on. It was like, what are we doing? Are we taking the calls in the middle of the circus? So I have to be very loud, and he couldn't hear. I don't know where he was. He was in some very busy area. At least the chickens weren't going off. I've had that happen. The chickens are chickening, and the roosters are going off, and the dogs are barking. It's like, okay, there's work from home, and then there's work from the middle of the farm or the plaza or wherever the hell you are. And gosh, come on, let's get some noise canceling things here. Let's pay up for these people to have some noise canceling so that I can hear them and not have the rooster crowing interrupt. This little tidbit says in 2021, Amazon revealed that it blocked 10 billion attempted counterfeit listings in 2020. The total number is not available that year, and they worked with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to identify and remove 5,000 brands infringing on trademarks. So they're trying. It's just
And some of those are even listings I have created. Like I'm part of that number because Amazon calls me infringing on brand names when I have made some bundles and I've had to go round and round with that. So some of those are even me. I'm one of those numbers.
yeah. This was an interesting one. What they're talking about is they could not pass the verification process, and so they were suspended, and there's nothing else they can do. They close their account, but they can't remove their storage. And they're asking, well, how do I get my storage removed? You have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. And if your account goes into the negative and you don't have the money, Amazon will eventually liquidate that out. And I read somewhere it was either 2,500 or 25,000. We'll go with 2,500. If your account is in the negative for under that amount, Amazon will not take legal action upon you. But if your account is in the higher amount, they will take legal action. So if you're in that boat, like, go look it up what that number is. If you're kind of like, oh shoot, am I going to get sued by Amazon? Which is interesting because I bought inventory off a lady who said she got in legal trouble and her account was negative and Amazon was suing her. And now I know that she hit that over. She owed Amazon more than 2,500, which is I don't know. I'm kind of curious on her journey, but it's not polite to ask, so I did not ask. Miss Millennial Money Mom says, how often are you finding a new product and creating a listing? Ooh, all right. You answer and then I'll answer because I think we have slightly different answers.
Yeah, I find new products and create new listings every single month. I just did 4 this last week. So that's something that I'm constantly doing. Um, I have either find these new products in retail stores or I have my wholesale accounts and my vendors that I deal with. And my vendors are always sending me catalogs and they come out with new inventory every year. Some of it's older inventory that they always carry, which is great because then these listings and bundles I do can be replenished for me for a very long time. So I'm constantly growing that. Some of my bundles and listings I create fall away because the vendor only gets so many in stock. Think of characters, think of, right now the Barbie movie, and they're not going to always have that. So I can only replenish so long. So I'm constantly having to make new bundles. There are other bundles I have made that I've been buying and selling for several years, but it's because it's something that I can constantly replenish from my supplier.
Nate says 2 for him. I would say I batch my, music. Sorry, I accidentally hit the F5 button and it went into slideshow on my pictures over here. So sorry about that. Let's see here. Last week, I think I did 4 new listings, and I would say I on average do about 10 new listings on a monthly basis, but I will typically sit down and do like 4 or 5 in a week. And then the next week, I'm not, like this week, I didn't work on those listings because I did them last week, but I did about 5 new listings last week. So whatever your pace is and whatever you're finding. Sometimes we find a lot of stuff. Sometimes we don't find a lot of stuff. Sometimes one listing is going to have 5 variations. Sometimes it's going to have one. So do you count that as 5 or not 5? I don't know. But finding a new product and creating a listing, Tina and I do bundles. If you're just talking about out in the wild, let's say you're scanning bras and you see a bra that's not coming up, how often do you take that and go make a listing for it? Not very often. There's not very many things I find out in the wild that are something that I want to take the time to get a listing made for it, because it's not a product that I really want to dive into. We've got new
It's only
movies coming
because you can get 3 of them, and then it's
out.
like, then it becomes like, I'm not going to create a listing on Amazon as if Amazon were eBay. So if I am at, like Lucy brings up bras, and I'm at the Hanes outlet store, and I find a bra that I think would sell well. It's not on Amazon, but bras like it do sell well. And I can only get 3 of them at the Hanes store of Hanes bra. I'm likely not going to buy that bra and create an Amazon listing for it when it's going to be like I have 3 of them and it's one and done. If that Hanes outlet had 50 of them, then I might, even though I know that after I sold all 50, it's over with. But being able to sell 50 of them is worth the time and effort I would put in to making that listing. So you gotta weigh that into account as well. And not only that, there's extra steps when you list a branded item thing. So if I bought the bra from the Hanes outlet, I have to request permission from Amazon to make the listing. It didn't used to be that way, it is now. And I would have to give them real world images of my item, front and back, and the barcode, because then Amazon is going to do their due diligence and see, is that product registered with the GS1 database? So is that UPC code actually attached to the Hanes Corporation? And
Mhm.
then they will spit you back that you have 72 hours to be able to list the Hanes brand. So if you found 50 of one bra and 20 of an underwear, and you have a bunch of different Hanes things, then it's really great, because you can then, just off of that one approval of, say, the bra, you now can list all of the Hanes things that you have on Amazon in that 72-hour period. Not forever, just that time frame. So let's say a month later you find more Hanes things, you're going to have to go through that whole approval process again.
Yeah, there's very few things that would interest me to list that have a barcode that are not in Amazon. Usually they're not in Amazon because they're not profitable. We've been on the internet selling things for plenty of years now. So any new toy coming out, let's say we had the new mermaid movie coming out, right? And you know that there's going to be new mermaid dolls and accessories and crud to go with it. I'll just wait until those listings get made, because 9 times out of 10, Amazon's going to make the listing and it will be a perfect listing. They have all the authority to make the listing. If I do the listing, I need to go track down stock photos and make sure the UPC code is correct and do all of the bullets and everything. And Amazon's going to be doing it anyways. So I'll just wait until they do it. And then if you do a listing like that, let's say I made a listing for said Ariel doll, everybody and their mom can jump on it. So why would I do that? Why would I put in all that work to have other sellers jump on it? Every listing that I've ever made that is just a single from some store, I have other sellers on it. Period. They have found it. It's on, I've even had them be on OA list. And I'm like, oh, that's my listing. It's nice to see that it's out there.
My
It takes.
listings be on an OA list before. It always kind of cracks me up. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I created that like 3
Yeah.
years ago.
I created that one. Yeah. And they're like, oh, this is a good one. Yeah, I know it's good. I made it. Moving on, we've got the small and light. You cannot add things to small and light anymore, right? I did not
That's
check that out
right.
today.
Well, and it's going away, so why bother? That's the way I feel. It's
Because we
going away,
got
why
like
bother?
3 more weeks. I'm gonna go to the page and I wanna double check that it's officially, because that was on my list of things to do today, was to add things to the small and light. I'll take a little screenshot of it. Ba-da-da-da. Okay, there we go. Does that pop up? No, where did it pop up to? Does that pop up now? Yes. There we go. So, small and light. On August 29th, the FBA Small and Light program will end and low price FBA rates will be introduced. Any low priced FBA rate eligible items will be automatically receiving the low price rates. Enrollment of new products ended after July 17th. I missed it by like 4 days. I should have. For more information, go to here about the changes. Let's see here. We've got reduced cost, no minimum offers and prime, blah, blah, blah. So basically they're just getting rid of the program. I believe it goes back to was it $10? They're going back from 12 to 10. Is that right?
Something along those lines. Is the reduced fees.
And then everything will be automatically enrolled. So it's one less thing that I have to do, but I do need to go through anything that is in that $10 to $12 range and see if it's now more economical to go down to $9.99. Some of them were at $9.99. I bumped them up to $11.99. So now I got to go see what's going on.
You just got to go through your account, and when the fees are posted, do your maths again, and then hopefully everybody else out there in the Amazon world that is also on those listings will do the same, or else you have to wait till they sell out to sell yours, or you're to be forced to keep it at the low price to not pay the storage fees on it. Yeah.
Usually Friday night's my drinking night because I can go home and I don't have much on Saturday morning. This is going to be like, I don't know. It just feels like one of the higher drinking nights. I need the bottle of wine. All right. I wanted to address this one. I've got 2 more pictures, Miss Tina, and then we'll save the other website for next time. So do you need to take off on a quick basis today, or you got like an extra 10 minutes?
I have an extra 10 minutes if anyone wants to hang with us that long.
Yes, and get your questions in now because I got 2 more pictures, and then we're going to wrap it up here. It's past 9 o'clock, and I've got to call seller support, which I feel like every time I have an Amazon issue, I should have like a shot, but then I'd die. So maybe every 5 problems equals a shot. We got to have some drinking game here. All right, we've got a new competitor who decided to take the easy route. Use their product picture. They photoshopped off the brand logo and replaced it with theirs. What can you do? You can file an infringement case through brand registry and or report the abuse. So, little insight here. If you are a registered trademark and you have your trademark is fully registered, then you can issue an IP complaint or issue some sort of infringement case. If your trademark is still in process, you cannot do that. If you try to do it too much, you will be deemed abusive in the system, and you will have certain privileges revoked for a short period of time. Ask me how I know. I tried to use their system and I was marked abusive. Like, I will abuse you if you let me at it here. So the other report abuses where I got flagged for abuse. So take that with a grain of salt, use it wisely, etc., etc. The bottom line is you can't really do much. And this goes into that black hat tactics we talked about earlier. Let's say Tina starts selling a private label coffee cup from China and it doesn't really have much going on to it. It's just a black, nice stainless steel. She's got awesome reviews and things. She's had this listing up for 5 years, whatever. I come in and I see, I can find that coffee cup on Alibaba and the margins look good. And hers, I can take her clientele by out advertising, out pricing. So Tina's selling it for $12. I'm going to come in and sell it for $10, maybe get some of them fake reviews, steal her photos, put it on. That is what's happening in the market right now. It sucks. And there's not a whole lot you can do. If you go to Amazon and you're like, that's my picture, they stole it, Amazon kind of goes, it's competition, it's capitalism. What do we care? They do. That's exactly what they do. Here is, this one was a picture of said hijacking. So this says, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's clearly Lego Death Star, Star Wars. And it is a free all deep penetrating oil rust remover. Loosen rusty nuts and bolts, screws, clamps, and pipes. So clearly it is not an oil rust remover. This has been hijacked. What they did was they took a listing that was performing well, and now they have merged it They can't quite tell whether that was with an Amazon glitch, that something just got messed up in the system, or if it was an intentional hijacking. But that is a
Because they'll find listings that are now out of stock.
yes. Yes, they will target things that are out of stock, or they will use barcodes, or at least in the back in my day, you could take whatever barcode wasn't in the system and assign that to whatever you wanted. So instead of even buying barcodes, you could just people would go to the dollar store, cheap stuff at the grocery store, and grab that barcode to have a barcode to use. And then later on, somebody would want to list that actual product and it's showing up as something different. It caused all sorts of wackiness. But it was interesting to hijack. Just going to use this random barcode and assign it because it was a legit barcode. I don't have any more pictures. That was it. And then next week, we will start off with top 5 Amazon selling mistakes made by 7-figure sellers. So I got to remember that. I'll bookmark that somewhere in my thing and we can discuss that. I thought, oh, no, we won't, because Desert Crud, what's her name? We're having somebody on the channel. Do you remember her name? It's not Desert Rose.
It's a desert seller. I can't remember her eBay handle.
There we go. Hold on.
But I know it's desert because I was like, oh, where is she at?
Yes.
I just can't remember, but I know it's desert. I want to say desert seller, desert selling. Oh, sellers. Okay. It was
sellers.
Right. Yes.
There we go. She reached out, wanted to come on the channel, so we were going to have her on. Go check her out. We're going to pick her brain on all things eBay. So that is going to be interesting. I love keeping up on the eBay and the Amazon. In fact, my eBay sales have picked up. I know your eBay sales are way more than mine. But I am always interested in seeing and hearing other YouTubers and whatnot. So if you are a YouTuber and you want to come on and chit chat with us on a Friday morning, just let us know and we will get you on. We're not picky. Yeah. You just have to show up, which what was it? Carbon 6 can't show up. So
whatever. Yes, and a lot of Amazon sellers also sell on eBay. A lot of Amazon sellers got their start on eBay like I did. My start was on eBay, but I was able to make more on Amazon. And now I've gone back to listing my minimum. I do a minimum of 10 products a week on eBay. Sometimes I get a little bit more on there. I think this last week I got a little less on there. But it's been just such a small amount of time, and I feel like it takes my brain off of Amazon because going onto eBay is just a different platform. I feel it almost lets my brain relax from Amazon, and I really enjoy going in the thrift store. We go to the thrift store 1 or 2 days a week, just depending on if I happen to pass one on my way home from something. I'm like, let's just go in there. I might have 20 minutes and I'll run in there and look around. I always find at least one thing. I do find one thing. We went in the Goodwill for about 20 minutes the other day, and I found a vintage pillowcase, a Ralph Lauren bed sheet, and this game. And the game, my husband's the one that found it. I had no idea what it was. It was called Merlin. It looked like a phone almost. It was some kind of game he remembered having. And they sell really, really well on eBay. And I bought a Ralph Lauren, just the top sheet to the bedding. The fitted sheet wasn't there, just the top sheet. And it caught my attention because I'm very familiar with the Ralph Lauren little bear. And so the bed sheet had all the little bears all over it. And I bought it. It was $4.99. Plus there was a discount on that color that day. So I paid $3 and some change for it. And I sold it the same day, or it was the next morning. It was the next morning. It had sold overnight. And I sold it. I can't remember. It's $28 or $29. So, I mean, that was a really good little profit margin on there. And I was in the store 20 minutes. It took me 5 minutes to make that listing, and I sold it right away. So out of the 3 things I bought, I listed 2, I sold 1. And that one item I sold more than paid for the little trip in to the Goodwill. So I've been liking my very small efforts on eBay for the money that I have been getting. I don't have a car payment because our cars are paid off. But if I did have a car payment, I have been making on eBay just a small amount. And I'm talking about my net income, not my gross. My net income is enough to make a car payment on eBay. So I am in no way making a living off of eBay, but it's not been a bad little side hustle to my side hustle.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I'm playing around with a side hustle right now. If it works out, I'll totally share, all the ins and outs. Uh, Essentially it is who's delivering. Okay. No, I don't think that's my delivery. The essentials is on your Amazon affiliate account. What people are doing is going and putting together lists and then putting it over on Pinterest. And I'm like, okay, let's try that out. I'm all about trying out some new things. So I have my VA is finding me the top 10 this and the top 10 that, and then we're going to make a little Pinterest doodad and then try and market that to get kickbacks for affiliating market items. So I came across what was it? I found it on accident, but one of those TikTok reels on side hustles that don't cost any money. And I'm like, well, we'll give it a go. I'm so, I'm willing to pay my VA 2 hours of work to see, pull all the links and see if there's anything that we can do. And I said, if this turns out to be lucrative, we will continue down this path. But it may be, it may be just my flavor of the week of what side hustle to do. But I like trying them all out. I need to up my Pinterest game. Pinterest is one of those markets that I struggle with. I don't understand well, and I would like to understand it better. I got 2 more things to shout out. First up, if anybody ever sees this Dark Tower game, buy it. Buy it, please. It is my favorite game growing up. My one aunt accidentally got rid of it, and then my other aunt had to buy it. But if anybody finds this game in the wild, hit me up. I will buy it from you. And if you really don't love me and you want to just sell it, it's a good bolo. Even the tower is really good. It can go upwards of buku bucks. Really,
And
really
speaking of that with games, if you find board games, sometimes just selling the pieces in there. I used to buy when eBay was all I did, and I made good money on eBay because that was all I did was eBay. I used to buy, there were certain board games that I did not care if it was complete because the little markers, that come in game, like the little for you to move forward spaces. Sometimes you could just sell the lots of the pieces that came in the game as replacement pieces. So a lot of times, and how I learned that, because then that was the other thing. Well, how do you know which games that the pieces sell well? Type into eBay in the search bar, board game replacement pieces, and look in the solds and sort them by highest price, and you can find what board games are selling for the highest price or what replacement parts to that board game are selling at the highest price. And that way you can keep your eye out for those board games when you're in the thrift store, when you're at yard sales. Parts sell great on eBay. Think about yourself. If you yourself are thinking about, oh, I need a replacement part to my blender, or oh, I love this board game but we're missing the most essential piece, the special dice that go to the game, or whatever. Most of us go to eBay for that information, because I don't think that Amazon might have that. I think, oh, somebody's probably selling this kind of thing on eBay, and that's where people go to look for things like that. I have sold replacement parts to food processors on eBay. Lots of things like that sell on eBay. And if you are one that likes to go into the thrift stores and look around, you can do your little bit of homework at home, just scrolling through the sold listings on eBay. Type in something particular, look at the solds and see what they go for. And it saves you time in the store from having to look stuff up, because I hate putting things in the cart and then stopping on the row and looking at and so when I have my homework done ahead of time, sometimes it makes going in there sourcing a little bit easier, because I know kind of things I have in mind that I'm looking for.
Yes. So last thing here, if you guys have not already subscribed to Tina's channel, go and subscribe. I've got the link in the chat. I've got the link down below. She's currently at 831 subscribers, trying to get her to 1,000. So we just need 170 more subscribers, and then you will be at the monetization level. And She
Yes,
has
it
not
has
done.
been a long journey. I like it. I like making my videos, but it sure has been a long journey getting subscribers, that's for sure. But I feel
Yes.
like if my content is good, I'll get them. So the better I get at making YouTube videos, the more subscribers I will get. And with that, if there's any videos that you would like me to make or things you want to know about or learn about, leave me a comment on my channel, leave a comment on the live, and I'd be happy to make those kind of videos. I don't know what you want. I guess what you want, and that's the type of videos I make.
I'm really tempted to film my phone call in with Seller Central. That's because it's like ah. Anyhow, that's what I got to do next. But I always line up my phone calls. I got packing to do, so I'm going to be on the phone while because it's a whole lot of like nothing while you're on the phone. They're like, okay, let me look this up. Let me put you on hold. What was it? My son likes to play, and I do too. In background music, we play lo-fi, or we have a bunch of different playlists. And one time, the song came up that it's the first song on the Amazon Hold, and I don't know what it is. And I'm like, can you skip that one? He's like, oh, you don't like this song? I said, it's the first song you listen to on Amazon Hold. I really don't want to listen to it again. He's like, oh, sorry. I said, please don't take that one off the playlist. I don't want to hear it again. And it's
I would
never,
like hold music just to be the white noise. You know how they have on that Calm app, just the white noise, brown noise, just any of
yes,
that.
but
I'd
it's
rather that than the
never,
music.
it's always garbled. It's like got so much feedback and stuff to it. And I think they do that on purpose. In fact, they got in trouble. We were talking about this. I don't know if we did it on the channel. They got in trouble because the way you cancel Prime is so complex that they have it's called like the Iliad because of the complexity. And it is so many steps that they were getting in trouble for it. I'll see if I can pull a thing, but utterly ridiculous. Cancel Amazon Prime. And it was in the news. So let me go to news really quick. There's freaking news. There we go. Sued over Prime subscriptions. So FDA is suing because getting out of the Prime was purposely hard to cancel. And I tell you what,
I've seen this.
yeah, the labyrinth because of Homer's Iliad. That's what it is, Homer's Iliad. But I'm pretty sure they do the same for us sellers. They put their hold music so garbage, and then the tier one is so garbage that we give up and we get frustrated.
Yes.
Andrea, how are you doing? It's nice to see you. Phone call. I love your beach pictures. I always see your beach pictures, and I'm like, I want to be in the beach. I want to go with her and go look at the waves. It looks so calming. A phone call with them will get you lots of views. If I did that, I'd have to bleep out a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
100%.
bleeping.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, but one of the things is whenever you're on the phone with customer service, you can't curse. So I will curb my vocabulary just like I do on YouTube here for y'all, because I know that people watch these when there's other people around or children around. And so that is the one thing I always try to be as authentic as I can on YouTube. So what you see is typically what you get. But if and you all should know this now, if you see me in person and I'm worked up about something, I am a sailor, man. It is not pretty, and I will definitely curse a lot more than in here. Can I curb it? Absolutely, because I've been in the professional environment for my entire life, so I do know how to curb it. But it is not. I like adding spice to my sentences. We'll leave it at that. So don't curse at anybody in customer service, because they will take that as aggression, and they will say, I cannot talk to you because you are being aggressive. Ask
I've
me how
never
I
once cussed to anybody on the phone ever. Ever.
Well, that's because you're an angel and I am not. I not necessarily with Amazon, but there's been times. What was it? Probably Cox Cable. I've probably cursed at them. PayPal. I've probably cursed at PayPal support. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done that. Isn't that I never. I don't know.
I most of my so a lot. I've had a lot of jobs, a lot of years of big board meetings, lots of corporateness that you have to talk all corporate, and I can do that. And then I've been out in plants. One of the first places I started was in the lab at Dairy Gold, and the plant was mostly run by, they hired felons. So there was a lot of felons that worked there. And that's fine. I don't have a problem working with felons or people who have ankle bracelets. But it definitely had some colorfulness to it. They say you had to have a thick skin, and you certainly did, because I was early 20s. I could just barely drink at that point in my life. So very early, and they put me in a very white uniform and very see-through. And so everybody could see your underwear on a daily basis, and having a room full of felons being able to see your underwear at a young age leads to a lot of thick skin. So yeah, HR didn't see any problems with this. I saw problems with it, but they were all nice. It's just hanging out with a bunch of guys. Ellie said she can teach you. Teach me what?
I think me to cuss people out on the phone.
Well, yeah, I think you could, but you're so polite. You're so nice. Me, I hit my threshold, and it's like, my kids know the warning. I'm like, I'm up to here. Up to here. You better knock it off.
Yeah. I'm usually, when I get to that point, I'm usually like, obviously you can't help me, and I'm feeling very frustrated right now. So if you could please, I would appreciate if you could just get your manager. Yeah, that's my level of mad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you were like so nice.
My husband one time cussed the lady out at the Dollar Tree because he was frustrated because I can always keep my calm, and she was just outrageously rude to me. She just was very, very rude, and I I'll hold my ground. I just hold my ground politely. So then my husband had it. I thought she wanted to take him out on the sidewalk and fight him. I'm like, oh my God, let's just get out of here.
Andrea says her husband is like Tina, and
He's like, my wife, I'm watching. Yeah, I just remember he was so ticked off. This lady, she was truly horrible. Now, when I got home, I called corporate and I reported the incident. I do that. I'll.
Yeah, and I can be calm. Like I said, I can be calm like that for sure. But I am very firm in what's going on. That's why my husband brought me to his doctor appointment with his knee, and he's like, I just bring my pit bull. I bring my wife. I'm not gonna, because they walk all over you in the medical. They tried to do that. I had a dental appointment this week. I had to figure out if I needed a root canal on a tooth that's sensitive after working on it 3 times. My filling didn't go very well. And the lady who's doing the pre-stuff before me, first they ask if I can do it as homework. No, don't give me homework. I'm paying you. Don't give me homework. I'm sorry. No, I'm not doing your homework. So I get in there, and I have to fill out the paperwork. And she's like, you need to sign this consent form that we can charge you $350 if the doctor deems it necessary to take a 3D x-ray of the tooth, but insurance does not cover that. And I said, then I'm not paying that. And they're like, what? Like, if insurance says it's not necessary and you already have x-rays, I don't see the need for this 3D tooth. Well, the doctor likes to have that. I bet you he does. I bet you he'd love to have an extra $350 to run this unnecessary test. Unless if you can tell me medically it's necessary, because really he's just either going to do a root canal or not do a root canal. That's what I'm here for. Knowing the 3D-ness of my tooth does not, like, the root canal is still going to be done the same way. I'd love to have 3D pictures of all sorts of crud too, and it's a want. It's not a, anyhow. I'm like, I'm not signing that. And they're like, okay. Same with my husband's doctor appointment. They try to tell him all this stuff, and I'm like, no, you can say that, but that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. Is Tina a former nun? No, she was a former angel.
No, I'm not. I'm not. You know what? Honestly, it's just, the way we're brought up, right? You're brought up to talk nicely to people. You catch more, what is that saying, flies with honey or whatever. I have worked in customer experience with my former job. And so I've dealt with the grumpy people, the irate people. And in my job, I couldn't yell back at them. So I just learned to be calm and deal with people who are frustrated and aggravated, and I just know I don't want to be that person to somebody else. And I know that when I was a person that was getting the people yelling at me or that were rude to me, I didn't go out of my way to help them back as I did the person who was kind to me, that said, look, I know that you're just doing your job, but if there is any way, I tended to go out of my way and give them the extra mile because they were kind to me. And I don't know, I just feel like I want to be that way back to people I'm dealing with, because I like to think that maybe they will go the extra mile for me as well. And part of it is this: I'm a soft hearted person. I just have compassion for people. And sometimes people are crabby and mean because they're having a bad day. We don't know what's going on in their life. And sometimes people just need a little kindness.
Oh
Do I
yeah.
get frustrated? I do. And, as the old saying, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I will still hold my ground. I'm still going to get the end result that I want most of the time. I'm just not going to contribute to the meanness of it all. I can't stand mean and harshness. I mean, Lucy will tell you, I don't even talk that way to my own husband. It's just the type of person I like to be for me, right? Because at the end of the day, when we go to bed, I have to feel good about who I am in my own person and what makes me feel good and proud of myself. It's just been a long journey in my life. That's not to say that getting frustrated makes you a bad person, or that if you lose your cool and cuss someone out that you're a bad person. That
So
doesn't mean that.
I
It's
think
just
I think we're
something
talking
I
about
work
apples and oranges here. So I'm not talking
on.
about cursing anybody out,
Yeah.
but I have had a time where I've been like, this is bleeping ridiculous. This is, your policy is bleeping ridiculous. I doesn't make sense. It doesn't apply, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, it's just like with Amazon seller support yesterday. You say you've tried everything you know. Okay, well, you are support. So who else are we to call? Like,
Yeah.
you you can't just sit here and say I give up, because that's not the option. I wish Amazon supports were just like Tina. Yeah, just kindly cuts people out. Yeah, unless if
Nate's
it's
wife is hysterical, though. I think her way of
I
cussing
know.
people out should be on a comedy show, because her cussing out is funny.
Yes. Oh, and it is. So yeah, no, I'm not saying anybody should be mean to the other person, but I've had times where I'm like, this policy bleeping sucks, and they're like, ma'am, you cannot use curse words with us on the phone. We will. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, so your policy is stupid. How about we say that, because your policy is stupid on whatever it is that they're doing. But yeah, doctor's offices and anything like that is where my husband will fold like a deck of cards, man. If they say, oh, you need to jump on one leg 3 times, he'll be like, okay. And I'm going, wait a minute, what is this charge? It usually comes down to billing. You're like, well, wait a minute, you charged them for this and we didn't receive that. And I've had that with a lot of professionals, and that's where he likes to send me in, especially with the worst was when AT&T charged me for overseas connection things, and I got a huge bill, and I had called to make sure I wasn't going to get that huge bill. So things like that, where it's like bait and switch with these companies, unprofessional with these companies. I once had a really bad haircut. Thinking of you, Miss Tina. I had a horrible
You had
haircut.
a bad haircut
Oh my
just
God, it was
recently?
terrible. No, this was back when I was a teenager.
Oh,
They gave me two
oh,
lengths. They gave me shoulder length, and she gave me like a bob right here. It was not
oh
like
no.
she wouldn't blow out she wouldn't blow out the hair. She was like, well, shampoo and conditioner are extra when she washed. She got my head all wet, and she's like, well, shampoo and conditioner are extra. It was bad. It's like, what?
Never had anyone yell at me for hating their haircut. I would probably get so nervous and get hot.
I didn't yell at her. I just was like so blown away. I was like, this is the worst service ever. I was crying. It
Yeah,
was a teenager thing. So I wound up chopping all
yeah.
my hair off, unfortunately, because of such a bad haircut. But I get
Everybody's
nervous
had a bad haircut. Yeah,
with professionals like that.
yeah.
So when they don't know, when I'm trying out a new professional, it's like, do you really
But
know
I
your
agree with you
job?
on advocating for the medical. You have to, you have to, you have to, you have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, they've tried to sneak in some sneaky sneak stuff, and I'm going, wait a minute. We had one that was really bad. We went in and did a marriage counseling session, trying out this place down the street 10 years ago or plus or something. And the lady's like, okay, well, I want to see, the way this works is we see both of you, and then I see each of you individually, and then we meet back again and see you together. And then she tried to charge each of them under a different code as personal, not marriage counseling. And I said, no, I'm not paying that. And she's like, well, but you didn't see it as a marriage counseling. I said, that's how you said the marriage counseling works, is we meet together and then we eat separately and then we come back together. So I'm not going to be charged for personal counseling. And I won that argument. I'm like, you can't that's bait and switch right there. You don't tell me it's anyhow.
This is funny. And Andrew, recently, it was so funny. I was using Chat GPT, and I've never done this. I just did this one day. I was typing into GPT to help me with orchestrating a product description. And for whatever reason, I just was like in text mode or something. I said, thank you. I told Chat GPT, thank you. And it responded back. I forgot what it said back to me about, oh, it was my pleasure or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
All right. So you guys, if anybody really loves listening to just
chit chat, because that's all we're doing.
Oh, just it's so bad. I can't bring it up because it is not appropriate for consumption here, but it is probably one of the funniest things, and they have all sorts of things. So it is the Twitch, and it is AI generated Biden and Trump going at each other in debate. So when you watch it, it's Trump and Biden, and the people who comment tell the Chat GPT what to say. And my goodness, is it hilarious, because people will come up with the weirdest, like, I want Trump to say this. And then they'll be like, I want Biden to say this. And they put in the most hilarious non-cursy curse words, and then some curse words as well. And it's very addictive, and it's very naughty to listen to. And I was on the cusp of outlawing it for my children, but they're in their teens now. It's not that they've heard all the words now. So if you're ever looking to do one. And then my husband said they had a new one that was AI Jesus talking. I can't do that. But the Chat GPT stuff is definitely morphing into things that are probably things that we probably shouldn't do. So let's see here. Hi, ladies. Tuning in, but have a question. It's off topic. I'm having trouble finding monthly received inventory in Seller Central. It is gone. I don't know what you're looking for. Monthly received inventory. It's under shipments. Just go to inventory and your shipments, and you can see what's being received in. So not sure. You're going to have to expand further, but that is all we got for today. Unless do you have anything else? I'm not looking at the phone, so.
No, I don't have anything else either. I just now got to go call about my computer. That's, now my high priority as soon as we're off of this. And then my paperwork day, as everybody always knows that. Friday finance.
Well, I've got to get a shipment out and call Seller Central, so I will do that while I'm packing. Fun times. All right, guys, take care. Have an amazing day. I'm going to hit the end button, and we'll see you all next week with Desert Sellers, so super excited about that. And,
so it'll be an eBay themed
eBay.
next week. So if you're into eBay, tune in. If you only want to hear about Amazon, it won't be for you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. All right, guys, take care. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.